Hey guys, Heather here from Tye-Dyed Iguana, and today we're going to answer the question, why won't my tarantula eat? In one of our previous videos, we talked about the reasons why your pet reptile or amphibian might not eat, so this week we're going to focus on tarantulas. So the first reason why your tarantula might not be eating is because it's full. Now, tarantulas really don't need to eat very often. You only need to feed them about once a week. If you feed your adult spider every day, it's going to get full and it's going to be overfed. And to compensate for this, they might go months without eating. So you don't have to worry about that. If you fed them a lot, like every day, they may go on a little strike where they may not feel hungry for a long time. It'll eventually eat again, it just might take a while for it to feel hungry again. The second reason why your tarantula may not be eating is because it's molting. Now, all tarantulas molt at some point in their lives. Young spiders may molt very often, and when this happens, they will typically go without eating for several weeks before the molt. If your spider's eating habits and other behaviors seem to change a lot, that probably means it's going to go through a molt. Also, after molting, your tarantula will take some time to recover, so you want to hold off feeding for about a week or so after the molt. A tarantula is very vulnerable right after molting because its exoskeleton hasn't hardened up yet, so you don't want to throw any insects in there because they could actually pick on your tarantula and hurt it. So they probably won't be interested in eating until that exoskeleton hardens up. Now, reason number 3 is that your spider is stressed out. Just like people, when we get stressed out, our eating pattern changes. A tarantula may go through the same thing. If you just brought home your pet tarantula and introduced it to a new enclosure, or you had to clean out its enclosure and move it back in, it may need some time to adjust to its new surroundings. It might be a little stressed out and it won't want to eat. Once it feels more comfortable in its habitat, it'll definitely want to eat. Also, you don't want to leave uneaten insects in your tarantula's cage for very long. That can possibly stress them out too. So you don't want to leave a bunch of bugs in there to make noise and stress them out, like crickets. You don't want a bunch of crickets chirping in there. Reason number 4 is, surprisingly, your tarantula may not have a reason. Some tarantula species, like the Chilean rosehair, simply stop eating for long periods of time. Now, this usually won't hurt them, and more often than not, your tarantula will eventually begin eating again. Now, with most pets, not eating is usually a sign of illness, but in tarantulas, it's not necessarily a sign of illness, as long as it's not accompanied by other weird symptoms. Now, if you start to notice your tarantula's abdomen start to shrivel up, rather than appearing full and round, then that's something you've got to worry about. That means it's losing weight rapidly. And also, if its legs start to curl up underneath it, that's also a bad sign. But if they don't eat for a while, they just might be going on a tarantula hunger strike. And usually during this time, they won't lose much weight or anything. Only when their abdomen starts to get a lot smaller, then do you need to worry. And then reason number 5 is probably the worst reason, is parasites. Now, with tarantulas, there's some types of parasites that are worms that can actually paralyze the spider's chelicerae, which is their mouth parts, and when this happens, they physically cannot eat. And this is usually the worst case scenario. There's usually nothing that can be done about parasitic worm infections in tarantulas. This probably isn't the case with your tarantula. It's not that common, so it's just one of those worst case scenario things. So yeah, those are the 5 reasons why a tarantula may not eat. If your tarantula is not eating, it's probably one of these 5 things that's going on with it. If you ever have any questions about your pet tarantula, you can always contact us here at Tye-Dyed Iguana, online or through a phone call. And thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.